What up, guys? Bobo here with BrassReel Brothers. Thanks for joining me for some more popcorns. And we're going to be talking about the Jurassic Park franchise tonight. If you didn't notice that by the little intro music there, got the little background going right here. But none other than always, I got my boy Andrew joining me. What up?
Hey, hey, hey.
Hell, man. Well, we thought we were going to have Clint joining us as well tonight, but we got a text from him that he's watching the playoffs right now, and he is a super sports fan, and especially a Steph Curry fan. So
Yeah, he's got a hard on for Steph Curry.
big time.
It used to be LeBron.
Yeah, but you know what's funny is I say funny. Credit where credit's due. He's not worshiping some weird person that's just a sideline player for no good reason. I mean, he is worshiping an awesome player. You know, it's like my buddy who's just like a super. He was a Browns fan just like his whole life, and I'm like, "Are you from Cleveland?" He's like, "No, man, I just want to root for him." I'm like, "All right, go ahead."
Well, I mean, yeah, the Browns suck so bad, and they've sucked forever. That's kind of like, well, I can't dog on you for being a Browns fan. I mean, they don't ever win. So
yeah, I mean, I guess you get enough shit for not winning, so we'll just go ahead, buddy. Just have a good life.
Yeah, it's these kids who are raised in Dallas, surrounded by Cowboys, Rangers, Stars, and they're Patriots fans because the Patriots were winning when they were coming of age, just like in the 90s for me.
Right.
But anyways, I digress.
Yeah, I mean, and look, I don't even know anything about sports, but I'm a Saints fan, and I know something about them a little. I know more about Dallas teams though than anything because I live here.
Yeah.
Anyways, but we're talking about Jurassic Park franchise and the Jurassic World.
Dun, 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 dun.
Well, so I was looking at some of these poster works and everything like that, and I think that I got most of them down. I might have to find one more poster here in just a second, but I'll do that while you're chatting about something about the franchise, so I can focus on there. But first and foremost, Jurassic Park, the franchise. I mean, that's what it's. I mean, you have to kind of say Jurassic Park, Jurassic World franchise these days because people are like, which ones? But I mean,
I call it Jurassic. I've been calling it the Jurassic franchise.
Yeah, that's kind of what I've been calling it too. So, and I'm curious when they sell it as a 6-film box set, what they're going to put on the box.
Yeah, is it a Jurassic? Is it Jurassic Saga now? I don't know.
And we'll talk about this here as well because the titles in the movie they messed up a little bit along the way with this franchise, and we'll get there. But and I don't mean just by the films themselves. I'm just talking about even the marketing. But the first one, I think we can agree. I mean,
the first one was absolutely breathtaking and groundbreaking.
Epic. I mean, take a trip back down memory lane. Can you think where you were when you saw this movie, what you were doing? Because for me, this is one of those movies I can.
I was in the theater with my entire family.
So you remember it. You probably remember what people looked like when you looked left and right. I mean, same thing here. I actually didn't see. I saw it in the theater, but not the first time in the theater because I don't know if you remember. This movie stayed in the theater like longer than any other movie. Like
at that time, yeah.
Well, at the time it did, but I want to say that even to this day, it holds the record for length of time remaining in the actual big screen.
I bet Endgame beat that, man, because they wanted to break some records.
Well, I'm talking about like from the beginning and when it started. Like Endgame kept on being put back in there. Like the same thing with Avatar, they kept on putting it back in. And look, I could be wrong about this, but if I remember correctly, it was like a 7-month stint. Like it actually went from the time it came out, it stayed in theaters for like 7 months. I'm pretty sure that's right.
I mean, you might be right, man. It was the early 90s.
Right. And it was in a time where you couldn't, things weren't
they couldn't release it on HBO Max,
right.
Or go stream it now,
Well, and even then, even getting a videotape was kind of expensive. Like DVDs weren't out then, and even videotapes you went and rented them and things like that. And if they didn't have it on the shelf, well, shit, you didn't get to watch it. And because they didn't sell them back then like they do now, where you can just buy everything.
Mm-hmm.
But also, this movie was it covered every genre as far as it didn't matter what type of movie you liked.
Yeah.
You could be like, dude, have you seen Jurassic Park? And people are like, no, I don't like. I'm like, no. Go see this movie, dude. you
And
know,
and who doesn't like dinosaurs?
Right. It's always a fascination. It's such a
Yeah,
far time away from life, even older than the Middle Ages. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like, or what the medieval times or
right.
whatever. But it was
So it was the whole concept of dinosaurs and people together was like, who didn't want to watch that?
oh, dude, it blew me away. I saw it with my youth group for the first time on like a we did movie nights and stuff like that, and I saw it in the gymnasium and everything. And what's funny is that I'd had spoiled parts about it. Like people had told me certain parts, but what I had envisioned in my brain was such a lighthearted. I just people were like, "Yeah, they bring these dinosaurs back," and I'm just like, "Oh, it's like ET or some shit," you know? I could once I saw it, I was like, "Oh my god!" Like
Yeah.
Samuel Jackson's arm, getting bit off. I mean, I was like, "Whoa, what the?"
Well,
I mean, just
even that moment when they've arrived and they see those brontosaurus or just roaming around, and one of them and it lifts up like this, and
yeah,
and then the welcome to Jurassic Park.
yeah.
I mean, that I mean, dude, that was epic, dude.
No, it truly was, man, and they treated the dinosaurs like Jaws in the sense that they didn't show them all the time. That you got to see plenty of them, especially by the end. I mean, you're getting to see a lot of cool stuff you'd never
Yeah,
seen on screen before that looked that good, you know. But I think there was one more thing I was wanting to say about this movie as far as its theatrical run and what it was doing in the theater at the time. But man, we were talking about it being in there for 7 months, and it kind of I'll get back to it, man. It was a really important thing I wanted to say, and I thought I was gonna refresh my memory like that, but it didn't happen. Um, but we do know that technologically, this was set kind of like what Avatar did for mocap.
mm,
This did this for CGI stuff in movies. Like after this movie, everybody was trying to implement CG
yeah,
into it was a fantasy movie.
and there was not. It wasn't. Not everything that you saw was. Hey, what's up, my brother?
What's that?
Not everything that you
Shout
saw
out to
with
Jacob
the
Worley.
not everything you saw with the dinosaurs was CGI. You could, I mean, there's behind the scenes stuff of them using puppetry.
Yeah, well, Stan Winston actually, the Stan Winston Studios, which they're like responsible for all major like actual puppetry and puppeteering in films. Yeah, actually more of that movie is animatronics
Yeah, which I
than
don't
it
know.
is
I, I
CG.
I don't know if they've gotten away from that with the current ones. I think I don't. I'm not sure if the current ones is all CGI,
They've
but I do know that it started off with puppetry.
they still do. I think Colin Trevorrow or Colin Trevorrow, however you pronounce his last name, I think that he is pretty adamant on doing in camera effects, just like most directors are. I'm not so sure about J.A. Benea, and that J.A. Benea is the guy who directed the second one, when I say the second one, I'm talking about Fallen Kingdom,
Uh,
Jurassic World and Fallen Kingdom. Now, Colin Trevorrow is directing this next one, Dominion. So, like, apparently it was his plan, and then J.A. Benea kind of came in there and did some fun things with that second one, which there's things about that one I like and things about it I don't like. Um, but I still think that they try to use the animatronics as much as they can, but they also are going for ambitious scenes now
yeah.
that there's no way you could use animatronics for that. You know what I
Mm.
mean? And there's explosions with dinosaurs and stuff, and their dinosaurs are running and jumping out of the explosions, and they're making you care about the dinosaurs in these new ones. Like Blue,
Yeah, which
he's
it's
just as
gonna
much a
be.
character as everybody else.
Yeah, we'll get into that, but it's gonna be aggravating. I mean, it's
So okay, so I won't get ahead of it, but one of the cool things about the first one is that it was, of course, every novel is adapted from the book to the screen, and they have to change some things here and there just to make it work for the movie. You can't just take it page to screen from novels because you'll have 10-hour movies. So, from what I understand, while they did have to cut certain things out of the original novel that they couldn't put in the film, what they did put into the film was very true to the book.
mm,
You know what I'm saying? Like they didn't try to like switch a bunch of stuff around. Um, Lost World, however, which was Steven Spielberg's. I don't know if you know this because the original Lost World which was made like back in the claymation black and white movie days. And it was about like, kind of like when King Kong and Godzilla were doing
Oh
their,
yeah, no, I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
it's where these dinosaurs start taking over the
yeah,
city. And it's LA or something like that. And as a kid, Steven Spielberg loved that movie. So this was sort of a dream of his to like, this is my perfect opportunity to make my inspirational film. Kind of like Bryan Singer,
yeah.
Superman is what got him into making movies. And the next thing you know, he's making a Superman movie.
Which would be why the end of Lost World, the T Rex ended up in the city.
Hmm. That's exactly it. So, point I'm trying to make is in the first movie, it just feels very true and organic to what Michael Crichton had envisioned. The second movie was more of Steven Spielberg's idea.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, and they took things kind of from it, but like Michael Crichton's Lost World book wasn't so much like what we saw in the movie. One, they got Jeff Goldblum doing his thing with the kid and all that, and but the first movie there was no bad guy villain,
right.
no dude. It was just like, oh shit, this messed up. Yeah, you had some stuff going on with the Newman with Wayne Knight,
Yeah.
him trying to be like a
Oh, you got
mischievous.
Dotson here.
We got Dodson here. Nobody cares.
Nobody cares. Think of a
Uh,
meme.
ah, 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 and then I love it too because Samuel Jackson. Please, I hate this hacker crap. Um, but man, like even then, he was just more of a nuisance. He was just like a bad employee. You
Yeah,
know what I mean? He wasn't a villain. The dinosaurs are what you were afraid of.
right.
And in the second one is where it just takes a different course than what was so
Yeah,
awesome about the first one. The
I,
first one was it's a wilderness,
yeah.
man versus nature.
I would give the first one. If we were grading these, I would say that the first one was an A plus across the board. There was nothing that was not exciting about it. There was nothing that was not gripping about it. And it told a great story. It didn't start off. It didn't start off. Like I guess there was that opening scene where they're trying to capture trying to get a dinosaur in that
Shoot
yeah,
time.
shoot, yeah.
Shoot
Um,
time.
and then it kind of shows you another time or another then it shows you the doctor and all that, and he's talking about the bones and whatnot. That's all full of fun, and it's setting up, and it's setting up for a reason.
It feels
Um,
like a ride.
yeah, yeah, it really did. And I remember there's that scene where they are in like the ceiling, and the raptors are loose and chasing them, and that raptor what's the girl Lex Dr. Grant pulls Lex up because her legs are sticking out. She just fallen through the ceiling, remember? And the
Mhm.
raptor jumps up. I remember putting my feet up on the seat, like, whoop.
Yeah, like you what that was so great about that movie is that it felt like a ride, the
Yeah,
beginning part sort of like felt like you were going up the roller coaster, and then finally when it takes off, it takes off. And it's that T-Rex scene that really makes it take off.
yeah. And then, I mean, the you would think that it would be cheesy, but it's still the way that even now, I watch it and I'm like, oh, that is so cool. The very end, when the T Rex has eaten the raptors, and as it's roaring, the banner falls down and it says,
Dinosaurs ruled the earth.
yeah, that was so awesome.
Oh yeah,
It didn't
even
come
as a
it
kid,
didn't
I
come off
got
as
that.
it didn't come off as cheesy or anything. It was just like,
No, it was just like, well, and it made you have that feeling of like, what did I just get done watching?
yeah.
Hey, let's answer this real quick. I don't want to ignore Jacob. We got a little. It says not sure. Hang on, let me move this here. Not sure what's been said yet, but Jurassic Park definitely was a breakthrough for that genre and still holds in my opinion. Of course, yeah.
Oh yeah,
Um,
yeah. That's exactly what we said when we kind of first started
yeah,
talking.
sorry we didn't look at your comment earlier than that, bud. And then right here he says, "I have no food on me."
Oh, that's the chubby stick stupid. Yeah, no,
Oh yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. He's like, what do you want? I have no food on me. And everyone's like, well, you are the food, bro.
yeah. Yeah, that's right. Um, so
That
yeah,
was that,
it
that was a
does.
cool thing to see as well was because it made you think for a while that you were only going to see a raptor, T Rex, and a brontosaurus, and then you see the Triceratops, which is sick, and then you see that what's it called? Damn it, I should know this because my kid he can tell you all the dinosaurs. The
The
the spit with the spit one.
shit, I can't remember.
Dilophosaurus. Yeah,
Dilophosaurus. Yeah,
that's
that's
one that
right. I
that's one
knew
that
that.
yeah, that's when it spits at him. Yeah.
Yeah, it's all.
Yeah, yeah. Okay,
And that
so
one scared the shit out of me as a kid.
oh, yeah.
And
Um,
that's the thing too, man. I was like in 7th grade when this came out. Like
I mean,
7th or 8th grade.
we're the same age. It was around that time. I was the same age, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, I remember being pumped up about it, and I watched it like crazy, dude. I mean, I saw it so many times, but it was one of those ones I just kept on and wanted to just rewatch and rewatch just because I just loved the feeling of it. You
Mhm.
know, like I wouldn't even necessarily be watching it. I just wanted it on and went the dun 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 dun. You
Yeah.
know?
Well, I remember getting to play that song in band in 6th grade, and that was, like, my favorite part of that year was getting to play the Jurassic Park theme song.
Oh yeah, dude. Everybody got it, and if you were in a band that got to do that, it was the because a lot of times in band you were playing shit you didn't want to play. So that was just like, oh man, we get to
Yeah.
play Jurassic Park. Jacob says the one thing is they made the Dilophosaurus too much smaller than it really is.
Yeah, well, Jacob, they also, velociraptors actually don't even look like they, the raptors that they took the images from, the raptors that you see in the movie is not actually a velociraptor. That's actually called a Utahraptor.
Yeah,
The Utahraptor is the one that actually is looks more like the body that they use. The Velociraptor actually does look like a turkey with feathers, which is what you see the trailer in Dominion, where that one looks like it's got feathers. That's probably the real what the Velociraptor really looked like.
well,
It was much smaller.
and when I was watching these today, and they're like, he's like, yes, a Velociraptor. It's so and so, so and so. I was just like, yeah, I couldn't help but think of what you told me about that now. Because don't get me wrong, I loved dinosaurs when I was a kid, just like every kid does. But at some point, uh, I got disinterested, and I think it was when superheroes became a part of things, and like I started learning about magic and like oh, so not that I got disinterested, it was just like I wasn't learning about them. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
yeah.
Like soon as I saw like dun, 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 and Transformers, I was like, oh,
And
you know,
I'm pretty sure I read somewhere that the sound, the roar that they used for the T Rex was actually a bunch of sounds of like elephants, and they kind of just distorted the sound.
yeah, they basically worked it out into a studio and just made it work properly to where it's now we refer to it as oh, that's what a T Rex sound
Yeah,
is.
yeah. Which no one knows.
How many times do you think that's happened in movies though? You know?
Yeah, well, I mean, one of the memes or something I've seen online before over the years is they're creating sounds they're creating sounds for the dinosaurs, and they have no idea what they actually sounded like. You know,
Well, yeah, and
but
remember in part 3, they create that, like, nasal passage,
oh yeah,
and
yeah,
they
yeah, yeah.
create it based off of what the fossils were looking
Yep,
like.
yep,
So, I mean,
yeah.
I guess there's ways to predict and kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Oh,
Theorize.
theorize basically, yeah, what the sound would be
Yeah,
like.
I'm sure there's a lot of research into it for sure.
But like you
So
said, it's like dreams and the afterlife. Nobody
yeah.
really knows.
So one thing, you could correct me if I'm wrong because you did just refresh your memory today. The one thing that I never thought added up was the shaving cream can with the embryos that gets lost in the mud in Jurassic Park. You never see that canister again with those embryos.
Yeah, I don't really understand what
I
you
guess we're supposed to assume that those embryos landed in the hands of somebody else, and that's how they kept going with it with all this technology and then creating dinosaurs. But you never saw those embryos and that specific canister again.
no, you're right. I'm not sure what they were trying to imply. I mean, I know what they were trying to imply, like the, "Oh, shit, this is about to go down and it's about to be widespread." I don't know if they were also saying that, like, something could have happened to them in the wild. I don't again, or I don't think that this is how stuff has been going on because there's relatives of John Hammond and all that going on. Like even in part 2, it's his nephew and stuff like that. So it's people have had access to his tech. You know what I mean? So I definitely don't think it's like that's how things have been kept on happening after part 1. Yeah, I wish they would have. I wish they would have followed up with that. It definitely was something that was extremely focused on. I mean, a whole sequence, not just like, oh, there's a little Easter egg there. It's like, no, they make an attempt for him to lock down the entire I mean, it's why half the stuff goes wrong is because
Yes.
Newman locks down the system.
Hmm.
I'm calling him Newman from Seinfeld, but Wayne Knight, because he locks down the system, and then he goes out there and then gets stuck with his Jeep, and then again the Dilophosaurus comes up and spits him, and it's like, oh, but we're just gonna forget about that whole thing for the rest of the movies. It's like, man, that's like a an eighth of the movie.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. That's I wish they would have followed up more with that. But however, it's awesome, especially with the characters, the way that they all have their own space. Dr. Alan Grant is very essential to he's the straight man. You've got his why is Laura Dern? I just watched it.
Ellie.
Ellie. I was about to say Josie, but Ellie. Yeah, she's like, super hot but nerdy at the same time. She's like kind of ambitious, but then you got the rock star with
Well,
Jeff
actually,
Goldblum playing.
she's tenacious.
Oh, tenacious. You're right. That's right when she's digging in the shit.
Yeah, it's like she's tenacious.
You will remember to wash your hands before you eat. Remember, that's what he says to her in Jeff Goldblum fashion.
So,
Dr. Ian Malcolm.
now that is one big pile of shit.
That is one big and dude, when he walks up to it, he's all
Oh yeah, he's got it. Oh yeah,
which by the way, look at this. Look what I found today.
yeah. Oh my god.
A recent photo of the same pose, same shirt. Dude, that just goes to show you he's hilarious and a
Oh
cool
dude.
dude. He does not take himself seriously.
Yeah.
He loves it. He just loves doing what he's doing.
And I loved the objects in mirror are closer than they appear as the T-Rex. You know that.
Oh,
that
super clever.
yeah, that was real clever at the time. I remember.
And the movie was so popular that things that not even lines in the movies that were just parodied in other things, but that was Toy Story did it. Remember? I don't know if you remember in Toy Story
Yes,
2 when
yes.
they're
They
driving
did
in
an homage to that. With yeah.
I remember cracking up laughing when I saw that.
Oh yeah.
um, again, Jurassic Park,
And
dinosaurs.
and you're right. What I think one thing that I like about the first one, and maybe it's because it's the first one, and it didn't need this. But I really like that there was not a human element that was the villain. They were
Yeah, that's what
all
I was about to say.
they were
Dinosaurs
all
were the villains.
yeah they were all just in a panic of we gotta get out of here. You know,
And it was
I've decided not to endorse your park. You know,
and
like
it was a creature feature. It was a
yeah,
monster movie.
yeah,
At its core, it was really a monster movie.
yeah.
I mean, think about it. They're in the woods, like, oh god, and then it's like, oh, but we're afraid of T-Rex because that's who got us first. And then all of a sudden, these raptors just start coming out, and you're like, oh my god, they're coming left and right. So, I mean, now when they try to capture that again in part two, I look. This is where I was talking about the marketing going wrong. Lost World, Jurassic Park, right away. It should have
Mhm.
been called Jurassic Park, Lost World, or Jurassic Park 2.
You're absolutely right.
But to be like Lost World and then Jurassic Park below it, even though it's got the same logo, emblem, and everything, it just, I don't know. It had,
What exactly was the Lost World about it? Was it
well,
Was it because they were on an island that was not introduced in the first one?
right.
These dinosaurs had migrated to.
Yeah, it was
No.
another site that they had not really talked about. And it was about John Hammond building that like amphitheater arena in America that he had abandoned that was just still left building. They talk about, and the reason I'm saying that's to just watch it. Remember when they're showing like when they go overseas in part two and they're trying to like capture all the dinosaurs, and it's like the bad guy team, the one where
Engine.
yes, this guy's the
Yeah,
leader.
yeah.
So they're trying to capture all the dinosaurs, and when he's got the camp set up, he's like showing investors like they're on a TV and there's
Mhm.
and he's like, see, we have this whole amphitheater. He's like, John Hammond had this idea set up, and he's like, and he abandoned it because of what happened. And he's
Oh,
like,
yeah,
this park could be ready and operational within a month because of the way it exists now, and all that. You know what I mean? And so it's
yeah.
like between that and the other site, I think that's why they call it the Lost World. But I mean, look, this movie when it first came out, I was highly disappointed. I was like, not only like it just felt like such a different movie. It felt very
It was.
Hollywood. It
Yeah.
felt very, very like, all right, let's market this bastard. You know what I mean? Whereas the first one, nobody really knew what they were getting into when they were watching it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even when you saw the trailer, you didn't really know what you were getting into.
Hmm.
By the time you're going to see the second one, obviously you've seen the first one, so it's kind of hard to not know what you're getting into. But they just approached it in a way that, again, when I first saw it, that didn't really work for me. Over time, there's something about it that's really grown on me. I don't know what it is. I enjoy it much, much more than I used to. In fact,
Is it Vince Vaughn's character? Is that what did it for you?
I actually do like Vince in it, but he's definitely not the Vince that we all know from Wedding
No,
Crashers in it.
no.
But he still has some lines in it that are kind of funny.
Well, it was before everyone realized that he was a comedic genius. He really he really only got himself on the map from that film. Before that film was Swingers, I think.
Yeah,
Swingers
what
was '96 and Lost
and
World.
he had stuff like Clay Pigeons and,
Yeah, which again, we're not. That
right,
those are not his fast talking comedies that
nothing super big.
yeah, he's become to be known as.
Yeah, like, I didn't really I kn I may have known, like, who Vince Vaughn was at that point, but I was also a movie nerd.
Yeah.
But I definitely, like, by the time I was going to see Psycho, I still was interested in seeing Vince Vaughn because he was still a serious actor. But it was right around the after Psycho time, like about 2 to 3 years after he did Psycho, where all of a sudden people were like, "This motherfucker is hilarious," you know? And then boom, 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 just movie after movie. But
Well, I remember, and maybe you might think differently, but I remember being a little the 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 baby T Rex thing was a little over the top. I mean,
okay, so first off, I don't like watching hurt animals in movies ever. I just hate it. And so though it's fake, it kills me every time when I see it. It's all, "Ah!" I'm like, nah, you bastards. Can't believe you heard it. And I don't know if I should have gotten a picture of it, but there's a scene in there when that thing's hurt and they're leaving it as bait for, the mama T-Rex to come back so they can shoot it. You remember that?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because what happens is they find the T-Rex.
That's before Julianne Moore's character gets the baby.
Well, Vince Vaughn finds the baby because they set all the dinosaurs loose while they're having that investors meeting. He's like, "We're about to show you a tour around the camp and show you all the species we've caught and some of the larger species." And next thing you know, Vince Vaughn's over there, bolt cutters clamping all those things and letting all the dinosaurs loose. And then they crash the camp. And then Vince Vaughn goes around and because he hears this thing crying, he thinks it's another one in a cage, but then it's one
Mm,
that they've
yeah.
staked down and broken its leg. Anyways, um, I just remember feeling so bad for that thing. But the I realized why they had to do it because they had to up the T-Rex because they wanted to get 2 T-Rexes in there.
Yeah.
And so it was like the mama and the daddy taking care of their T-Rex baby, which
Yeah, so
was awesome.
you get that car chase later on with a T Rex on both sides. I remember
No,
that.
yeah, and that was great. But you also have the famous bus scene, which first off, I can't believe I didn't do this earlier. I got to do this. I wanted to show you this poster that I found for the first Jurassic Park. Um, why can't I find it? Well, I guess it didn't load right, but hang on. Let me see. You got to see this thing. It's so awesome. There we go. Here we go. So yeah, this poster is just too good,
Oh, what?
right?
Yeah.
See, I found that online today.
I wonder if that was like fan made.
I think this one was real because you see how it's I don't know. I think that this one was real because it comes up first like that you can buy it. Like this is one that you can actually buy like on Amazon.
Oh.
So I think this is it, it could be a new one that they've done, but um anyways, but man, there was one other poster I was trying to look for. Anyways, what were we talking about? You had just said something. I'm sorry.
Oh, we were just talking about that. There were there were 2 T Rex in this one, and
Oh
plus the
yeah. Okay.
baby.
So yeah. So then the thing from that one was the famous bus scene. when they're hanging from the cliff. And so when the two T-Rexes knock that down right before that poor bastard who's trying to save him gets eaten up by both of them and they share him,
Yeah. Yeah.
um, he was trying so hard too, man. He was like bringing that cable from the truck, slipping in the mud, trying to wrap it around.
Yes.
And,
Totally remember that. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
which that scene again, dude, horrific. Ripping that dude in half. It's like,
Oh, yeah.
uh,
Well, they had to up it a little bit because the first one you saw them just grab the lawyer and kinda shake him, and that's it.
well,
But
and
this one
he
this one
gobbles him. He
yeah,
shakes him and he's like,
yeah, this
but
one, you see the body goes, you take
oh
that part, you take that part.
yeah, and obviously there's no blood spraying, but they could get away with it because it's raining so hard, so it
Yeah,
doesn't look bad. It looks good. It just, but then now they're showing a homeboy getting eaten in the trailer of Jurassic Park Dominion. You know what I mean? Like they're not. They don't. It's changed so much, but
yeah,
that scene where they're hanging when the bus gets pushed over the side, it's like half of it's on and half of it's hanging off.
yeah,
And then you got the whole glass bottom, and then she's on there and it's cracking, and then things are dropping, and it's all pretty tense and it's all really well done. And I've got some people that are friends of mine, especially from back home, excuse me. They're like, oh, I hate it when they just use excuses to make these like tensed out 4 or 5 minute scenes. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, that's the whole point, like, of all these different levels of emotions in movies. And I don't know. He just, for some reason, he doesn't like that. Like I remember when we were watching Scream 2. Remember when Sydney has to get out of the car and the killer's in the front of the car and it's
yeah.
crash and it's like super tense. And I really think it's because he gets tense and he doesn't like it. He doesn't like the feeling, and so he's like, "I hate it when they do that."
Oh, yeah.
But it's effective, and I
Yeah.
love it when they do that kind of shit. So, like, for me, when she's on that glass and, like, with every crack, I'm just like, "Oh, oh, no." Like, because
Yeah,
some
that's how you build these and the intensity in these scenes. I mean, what does this person want?
of course, and then they barely make it, and they get saved by, like, holding on, and the bus, like, falls
Yeah.
around them, and
And
all of
yeah,
that's great.
I remember that, yeah. The bus falls right, and they're still holding on as the bus just collapses. Yeah, I
Because
remember that.
they get pulled up by the engine, and engine finally saves them because they
Yeah,
realize they're there. But that whole scene, man, was just I just love that, and the reason they, I think, did the whole 2 T-Rexes and then the baited T-Rex baby, it was just so they could get to all those scenes. You know what I mean? Because they really don't do much without the after that T-Rex after that. Because they give the T-Rex back, they give the little baby T-Rex back to him.
yeah.
If you don't remember, they literally hand it out of the window, like, "Here you go." Like, it wouldn't just eat them right there, but
Yeah, sorry.
yeah, "Sorry, here's your baby back." But anyways, then they go on the trek in the forest, which that's actually my favorite part. And this, remember, gets Peter Stormare in
Yeah,
it,
yeah, and he
and
gets
then
he gets killed by them little tiny
the
dinosaurs.
little tiny ones that are in the beginning ones,
Yeah,
which I always thought those were baby raptors, but they're not. They're actually like a full grown species of their own. You know
yeah.
what I mean? I can't
They
remember
they
their
they
name.
got, like, I guess they got really sharp teeth or something, or, but,
Well,
they're
apparently they eat like the what's left over off of carcasses that have been
uh,
fed on, and so they have to like gnaw stuff off of the bone, like literally. So they do have like little razor teeth.
I remember that scene, there was a um, pretty well done scene that had some, horror elements to it, which is in the grass, and the raptors start moving in the grass behind him.
Oh,
Oh, yeah? Remember that?
dude, and they're like, "Stay out of the long grass."
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and you can see it from the aerial shot, and like they're in that long, like it looks like wheat,
Yeah.
and you can just see the trails of the raptors like
Yeah.
closing in
That
on them.
was
Oh,
really, really cool.
super, dude. That's what I'm saying. The second one has got a lot of ambitious visuals, a lot of cool things. The CG, because it wasn't quite there, and the way that they implemented it the way they implemented it in the first one, it works almost flawlessly. Honestly, the only one that's kind of like, all right, I can see, is when they see the brontosaurus in the very beginning, because it's super bright out. And it's like, I'm talking about, I'm watching it on Blu-ray now on a big ass screen. And so it's like, I can kind of see that that looks a little but like when the T-Rex, dude, even the CG T-Rex at nighttime when it comes on top of the explorers and it's turning them upside down, dude, it still looks absolutely excellent. Whereas the second one, all the CG, it looks like that brontosaurus scene at the beginning of the first one.
Mm.
It you could tell they were like, let's do this. We've got control of the CG now. And it's like maybe in the theater it looked good, maybe on video it looked good, but once DVD and picture quality started advancing on our screens after what's made, you know what I mean? Like the product that's why because of cameras, that's why cameras have advanced so much because the what we watch it on now is crystal clarity. So it has to be quality before it even gets there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. You know, I guess kind of fast forwarding to the end, whenever the T Rex is now in San Diego, um, I don't know if it's gonna. I'm curious if it's gonna get brought up in Dominion about how, you know, oh, this happened years ago where T Rex was in San Diego and it destroyed the city. You know, because now, you know, in Dominion, which we're gonna go see tomorrow, it's the dinosaurs are living with people in the cities and everything, and I'm just wondering if it's gonna get brought up that this happened another time and it didn't things didn't go well for people.
What do you mean it happened another time? Like
Well, like in Jurassic World Dominion that we're gonna go see tomorrow, the dinosaurs are living with people.
but I don't know. Yeah, but
They are among us, and
yes.
I'm wondering is there going to be any dialogue where they talk about how this happened previously? A T Rex landed in San Diego and it didn't work out.
Oh, oh, oh,
You know?
I got you. I got you. No, I'm sure they're going to because I mean they talk about the other movies in the other movies. So I'm sure that they will. Like they talk about part 2 and part 3.
Do
They
they?
they do. They don't talk about the city part,
Right.
but they talk about the events in part 2.
In part three?
In part 3 they refer to the events like on the island in part
Yeah.
2. They don't talk about the city part. But what I'm saying is they refer to other movies. So because of this them living in the city, I would think they'd have to be stupid not to mention it or refer to it somehow.
Well, I mean, I don't know.
These days, you never know, man, for
You know,
sure.
dumber things have happened in films.
No question. So by the end of Jurassic World, or excuse me, of Lost World, and see, that's another thing that's confusing. You have two world titles. One of them is Lost World, then there's Jurassic World, which is the major
Yeah.
title of the film, but Lost World is sort of a subtitle. Anyways,
Yeah, but you're right. Like they messed up with that title.
it just messed up with that whole
It should
chain.
have been Jurassic Park 2: The Lost World.
Now, because the Jurassic Worlds, you have 3 Jurassic Worlds and 2 of them with subtitles, which
Mm-hmm.
or with you know what I'm saying? So or
A sub whatever, I don't know what that word is, but
not sub I think it is it a subtitle? I
I don't
think
know what
it
to call that.
technically is, but anyways, maybe somebody correct us on that if we're wrong, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Just like it feels right.
right.
Uh, but
And then
the
part 3, and literally is just Jurassic Park 3.
yeah, which there was no Jurassic Park 2. So, you know, they did that with Aliens. You had Aliens, and then
Mhm.
Alien 3.
Yeah, which was fine.
But there was no 4, there was no 5. It was just it was like so we just have one of the Alien movies has the number and it's the 3rd one. It's just weird.
Well,
Uh,
I think I actually thought that was kind of clever, or I actually don't mind that with it because like aliens is supposed to imply that there's plural, so there's more than one of them this time.
oh, I thought that that was great,
Yeah.
but it like I would have preferred they figured out how to use just Alien without a number for the 3rd one, and if they could have said like I don't know, just Alien something, you know, I wouldn't have minded that, but just the fact that it has a number because after that one we have Alien Resurrection, you
No.
know, so you know what I mean? So, which I like Resurrection personally, but well, another talk.
Mm.
So, but anyways, what I was saying is that by the end of Lost World, we've got them finding, you know, this all these they stumble upon other parts of the island where it's like, oh, here's where this facility was, and then you find out, oh, remember the daughter snuck in. Jeff
Oh yeah,
Goldblum's daughter snuck in,
the obvious adopted daughter, by the way.
right? Well, no, because he talks about your mom was a supermodel, so it could have been, you know,
Oh, okay, touche.
uh, but Julianne Moore's his girl, and he goes over there to try to rescue her. Not she didn't think she needed rescue, and she was there to do research mission. But he's like, "No, we got to get you out of here." But then he finds out the daughter's there. Now, this is what killed me about this one. And in hindsight, I let it ruin the movie too much for me because I was already kind of disappointed with some of the route of this movie when I was watching it in the theater for the first time back in the day. Now I feel differently about the whole movie, but then I was already kind of on this odd trajectory. And then we find out that the saving grace to beating these dinosaurs, especially the raptors, is the daughter's gymnastics.
Oh yeah, with the
That's what
raptor in the face.
that's what I oh, dude, we're gonna be okay. She knows gymnastics. Thank God. Like I was just like, really? This is what y'all are going with? I just thought, like, to me, if there's a girl swinging around on some bars, that raptor's gonna jump up and grab one of those feet and yank you off those bars. You know what I mean? Like, this is a hunting predator that's super fast that can leap, and you've shown us that. And then all of a sudden, it's like, but no, she knows gymnastics. So
Well,
that
I think part of this her that was part of her character development was that I think they mentioned before that
no, Dad, I got cut from the team.
she did yeah cut from the team or didn't have the confidence or whatever, and then suddenly she gets her confidence when it comes to a life or death situation.
Okay, so make it a situation where the dinosaurs are gonna get her, and she's gotta jump across something, and she has to do some sort of crazy thing where she leaps off of something and then does a roll, and it's like, awesome, you are a good gymnast. But the fact that, like, they got all these bars set up just right to where she can do all these swings and flips, and she doesn't have any gloves or any talcum powder, it's just like, oh.
Ow.
I don't know, man. I couldn't for me, it took me out of it. Now look, watching it again today, it's not near as bad because now I kinda look at it the same way as in Temple of Doom. There's some ridiculous stuff in there, but it still doesn't ruin the movie for me.
Yeah,
And in Jurassic Park 3, there's some ridiculous stuff, and Jurassic Park 3 is kind of my second favorite.
yeah, I kind of like three more than two.
Oh, no, that's what I'm saying. So for me, it's kind of 1, 3. I'd say that 2 and World are kinda equal now. It used to be World first before, um
I would still put World over two.
well, that's what I'm saying, but 2 has grown on me over time. It used to be World over 2 for sure, but now it's kinda I'm having a hard time with that. I'm still gonna stick with my old grading and still say World over 2. But I do think Fallen Kingdom is my least favorite, even though there's certain things about it that I absolutely love, but there's so much of it that I just despise that it's
Yeah,
not despise, that's harsh. There's so
Fallen Kingdom was not as good as I wanted it to be, and it makes me worried about what we're gonna go see tomorrow.
Well, yeah, thankfully, this one's they've taken a lot more time with, however, a lot of that was due to COVID.
Yeah.
Um, or excuse me, the C word. God dang it, they hate it when you say that.
Oh yeah.
Um, so anyways, it was Jurassic Park 2 overall, like I said, at the end of the day, time has passed. I really like it a lot. Now, when part 3 came out, part 3 kind of felt like part 1 did in the sense of the marketing. I didn't even know it was coming out until I saw a poster like a month before it was about to come out. And I saw the poster in the theater and there wasn't even a trailer yet. And I was like, what? They're doing a third Jurassic? I thought that like this was done because the second one was like kind of half well received.
No,
So
you
people
thought
liked it.
wrong, sir.
Dude, how wrong was
They knew that they knew and they still know that they can market these dinosaurs.
I? And look, it
The,
worked because
the,
I'm
the,
still going to see them.
and the three look like claws. That was
Oh,
that was pretty clever marketing, I guess.
dude, yeah, and look, so the first one I think is really cool because it's like the whole. It looks like it's on stainless steel that's all been scratched up.
Oh yeah, yeah,
And then you've got the original logo with the scratch claws, but then you got the shadow of the pterodon. So, like, that's a really classy poster, in my opinion. Like, I really like that poster. I think that's probably my favorite of all the Jurassic Park posters. Just because, just everything about it works. Um, Now on the right, this was just, I think, some sort of fan made poster, but I still think this one was cool because this is where we saw something top the T Rex.
yeah. The pterodactyl.
No, I'm talking about the Spinosaurus on the
Oh,
right.
yeah. No, yeah, that too. But
But
I think people really liked seeing the pterodactyls finally being introduced.
oh, no question, and that's what I'm saying right here. You see the shadow of it on the left poster?
Yeah.
That I love that right there. I just think that's beautiful. And yeah, and I think that a lot of people had this idea that the pterodactyls are pterodons. I get corrected by my little nephew all the time that they're pterodons. So I'm saying pterodon.
No, there's no. He's right, there is a pterodactyl.
Oh, I know. I know. Apparently there's like all these different variations of certain
Yes.
yeah.
Well,
But
actually, I only know this. My son right now is obsessed with reptiles. At nighttime, he wants me to. At nighttime, he wants us to read a book about reptiles. Which there's no story to it. It's just showing him pictures and reading what this one is.
hey,
And it's talking about how there's a lizard in the lizard family that is called a pterodon, and it actually was a lizard with wings, and it goes as far back as the prehistoric era, and it was called the pterodon.
so
But it
this
was
is
a lizard with, I mean, like the size of like a bearded liz like the size of a bearded dragon, for example, but it had wings, and it had a beak like a pterodactyl in a way.
so that's small.
Yeah,
Interesting.
yeah.
Well, so you say you like the part 3 like the second best?
Well, I mean, yeah, I guess out of the Jurassic Parks, out of the first trilogy, I for sure like three more than two.
Yeah, I do too.
Now,
Um,
I guess it's a little far fetched to assume that that teenage boy would survive that whole time,
so
but
that's
but I mean,
literally the way that there's the little girl, the daughter in part 2 that's my complaint. He's my complaint in this one. It's like, are you kidding me? He
yeah,
figured out how to survive in this quick, and then he's like, "So this is T-Rex pee?" And he's like, "How'd you get it?" He's like, "You don't wanna know."
yeah,
Like, all right. And like it shows him saving them and he's got all these like smoke bombs and stuff.
yeah.
It's like,
Like, what are you watching? You playing on Black Ops?
What
Oh
are you,
wait, that's
Adrian
just this
Brody from
thing.
Predators?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
But see,
it
there's a
doesn't ruin the movie for me though.
no. There's a part of me that feels as if can we really be dissecting what we didn't believe about a movie about dinosaurs?
Okay.
I mean,
Yeah.
okay,
No, here's the deal. The people in the movie are just as amazed as the audience are about the dinosaurs. So it's okay for us to sort of suspend that disbelief because they're not just acting like now, obviously in this newer one, it's been an ongoing thing. But what I'm saying is that this is this is just as an exciting phenomenon within the movie, dinosaurs being alive, as it is for us to watching them being alive. So for me, that kind of like it's sort of like a canceling out. Like, okay, we can do that. But logical things, on the other hand, need to make sense. So, for example, just because we live in a world that's supposed to be, or we watching a movie that's supposed to be a real world where dinosaurs somehow or another got reincarnated because of mosquito DNA, doesn't mean that now everybody has magical powers. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's still supposed to be a real reality based world we're watching this in. You know what
yeah,
I mean? So
mhm.
that's why the little things like that, the little girl in part 2 and the little kid in part 3 just bother me a little bit. And honestly, not jumping the gun because I'm not done talking about part 3, but one of the biggest things that really bothered me about Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom was the involvement of the little girl.
Oh yeah, well,
It's like unnecessary, dude. Like we're watching a Jurassic Park movie, not a Jurassic Girl movie. Uh,
well, I think the opening scene of Jurassic Park 3, that's when it's revealed that, oh, the threat on this one is going to be flying dinosaurs, aka pterodactyls. It like just it wasn't supposed to be pterodactyls that took him while his son is what's it called, when he's on the parachute on behind a
yeah,
boat.
they're parasailing.
Parasailing. He's
Yeah,
parasailing, and then suddenly his dad's gone. So
no, no. So that's not what happens. So the way it happens at the very beginning is they're parasailing, and he's like, he's telling them before they go up here, I'm paying you some money. He's like, get us real close. I'll pay you some more. He's like, oh, but we can't get too close. I want you to get eaten, okay? And So they're doing their thing and they're like above the clouds. So the parasail is above the clouds, but the boat and everything's down there. And then they're feeling like some tugs. And then finally they pass and the clouds pass for a second. They look down there and the boat's all bloody and everybody's gone. And then that's when they start tugging at the lines again. And that's when he clips away. And then they land. So he doesn't get eaten in the air. It shows there's even footage of them when because they find him
No,
dead.
I mean the people on the boat are suddenly gone.
Right. I thought you were talking about the dad was
No,
gone.
the people on the boat are suddenly gone, and it has to be that the pterodactyls flew in.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
Hands
that's
down.
what I'm saying.
Unless there's already some ones that had made it into the water. Who knows? We don't know that or not. By the looks of the trailer, though, when we saw the Spinosaurus, and remember that nighttime scene where they're in the water, this one right here,
Yeah.
the part where you see the spine like going in the water because he's underwater. And I saw that in the trailer, and I thought we were going to have underwater dinosaurs in it, but we didn't. But no, I think you're right, though. I think it was pterodactyls that got him on that boat for sure. But got Taya Leone, William H. Macy bringing in there. They fake with Sam
Yeah.
Neill. And
They go and lie the same. That if you really want to nitpick, that is bullshit. He should have been like, you guys straight up lied to me about this. I'm not helping you any further.
well, he needed to get off the island. I mean, he was stuck. They crashed their plane. Do you not remember that part?
No, yeah, I know. I guess there's a part of me that's just like, why was he not more fucking mad at that whole thing?
Oh, he was. He punches him. They have to keep him from stop punching him. Like it's right when they finally get away from the first attack because he thinks they're leaving and going back because he's like, we got to get out of here. And then they get crashed. And then finally, when they get away from everybody, the next thing you just see is just and William Macy falling down and then they're pulling Sam Neill back.
Okay, I forgot about that. Yeah,
Yeah, no, he definitely gets mad. But what's really cool, I don't know if you realize this, is that his sort of Sam Neill's mentor, Dr. Alan Grant's not mentor, but his protege in
yeah.
this
Mm-hmm.
is I can't
Alessandro.
uh
I think his name is Alessandro. He's the
he's Castor Troy's brother, Pollux Troy.
yeah.
Yeah, so that's what I was going to mention. He
Yeah.
is in Face Off. For some reason, I can't ever remember his name, and he's been in other things as well.
This one is directed by Joe Johnson, who
Yeah,
did
Captain America. Yeah, so Joe Johnson, he's done a lot of other stuff. He's actually was Steven Spielberg's second unit director for years.
Well, fun fact: Joe Johnson, he created the final version, I won't say revisions, but he's responsible for the final look of Yoda and Boba Fett.
Oh, that doesn't surprise me. I mean, he was connected. He was in that crew. Like him, he came up when they were all coming up, and finally he started getting directing gigs. And he's done some other stuff outside of Captain America and Jurassic Park that have been big movies. I just can't think of them right now. But like stuff that you'd be like, oh shit, I didn't realize he directed that. I like that movie, you know.
Yeah.
But no, he's definitely.
I think he did Rocketeer.
Yep, sure did. And I think again, there's some other ones that I'm thinking of, but overall, I really like Jurassic Park 3 for the most part. I think it's got a lot of darkness that I think is works really well. It's got the best looking dinosaurs out of the first 3 movies.
Yeah.
Like they look the best in this movie.
Yeah. When that moment when they realize they're in a cage.
Oh, dude, he's like, this is a bird cage, and then the pterodactyl comes through the fog, and it's walking, and it's like 2 stories tall.
Yeah. That was pretty scary for a
very scary. Yeah. And the Spinosaurus fight with the T-Rex, it's like, so this is the first time we get to see a dinosaur showdown, and it's actually, and then he breaks the T-Rex's neck, like he holds it, and then he has his neck, and he breaks it and just throws him down.
Yeah.
So all of that
was you saw the T-Rex lose.
Oh yeah. And then that's when you're like, dang, Spinosaurus, and you get to see the raptors doing something you hadn't seen yet, to where they're using a dead guy as bait.
Yes. Yeah.
They're making his arm move.
That poor bastard from Green Mile.
Yeah.
He actually passed away in real life.
Oh, God rest his soul.
But yeah. And it's Dr. Grant who was telling everybody, like, stay away. They're using him as bait.
Yep. He's like, no, something's not right here.
Mm-hmm.
So that one, Oh, and then we get to see the sort of the first raptor showdown. Remember, they're all caught in the middle, and the raptors. It's at the very end, and the
Yeah.
raptors are all surrounding them. I thought that was
Well,
just really cool. And
and then
they're communicating. You get the spiked raptors and
yeah,
stuff.
and then you got speaking of the protege, he's trying to smuggle back those eggs, and Dr. Grant realizes it, and he chastises him. You know, you're no better than Injun. These guys that want to take these dinosaurs back to
But it's what saves them.
yeah, but it ends up being what saves them because he's like, I can just give you these eggs and they'll go away. Yeah,
And it turns out that that's what they wanted.
yeah.
It's a what really would have happened to me like, give me the eggs. Y'all take this egg real quick. So
I did always like that you got. I did always like that they had Ellie with that cameo at the end. Kind of,
oh, and she's in the beginning at the very end, which is really cool.
saving him. Yeah,
I like that. And they connected it with him, Alan Grant always wanting to talk to her kid, and be like, see, this is it. He's teaching the dinosaurs. And then they show him the
yeah.
kid at the end, and he's all,
Yeah. This dinosaur man on the phone.
yeah. And she's like, oh, that must mean he's in trouble with dinosaurs again. You know? uh, but
I'm also they're all back. They're all in the film together tomorrow that we're going to see tomorrow, and I'm curious if there's any conversation that comes up about part 3 because she saved his life by calling by calling the right
no,
people.
I think they're going to have to because I mean they're all in it. And which look, this works. The second one it worked with Dr. Ian Malcolm being the one that was in it because Dr. Alan Grant was definitely like fuck this. But then the third one, Alan Grant got tricked, which makes sense. And so Ellie being in that, with him being in it, makes sense. Why wouldn't you maybe show where they are if you're going to have Dr. Alan Grant? Wrap that
Yeah.
up a little bit for us. But then this one, the fact that they're in it, they don't have to shoehorn them in it. The dinosaurs are here. And, so it's like, can we call these dudes? What do you think we should do? Or who knows? They might show up on their own steam, just being like, look, we got to do something about this, So, but let's talk about these last two real quick because I don't
Yeah.
have as much to say about them as I do the other three because I like the other three a little better. I think.
Yeah. So Jurassic World.
No, but I'll say that Jurassic World was a pleasant surprise. I really enjoyed it, but it did feel different than the first three, even though the second one had sort of that blockbuster and popcorn machine vibe to it. Third one felt a little more back to normal, back to what we liked. There was really no human villain in the first and the third one. There was human people that tricked him, but they weren't bad people. They just wanted their son back.
Yeah.
But this one again, we get a villain again, a human villain. And again, I thought I had a picture uploaded from him. I don't know why it's not doing it, but I'll just go ahead and put it in here. But you remember who it is? It's this old boy right here, Kingpin, Vincent D'Onofrio.
Yeah. Well, okay. Was he really the villain, or was it the Asian guy that you saw in Jurassic Park?
So okay, I think that they make him more of a nuisance. I don't think he's a villain. I think that he's just sort of a nuisance because he's helping the Indian guy who has this dream, who was friends with John Hammond. Remember?
Yeah, yeah.
His deal seems along the same eyes as what John Hammond had. Like he seems to be like, I want to create something great.
Yeah.
He doesn't seem to be in it. He's even like money's no issue, whatever. Like
right.
But he doesn't seem bad, but the other dude.
To me, that Indian guy who ends up dying in a helicopter,
flying himself.
Yeah, to me, he's got a little bit of a redemption quality to him because he was willing to go and destroy these things because
he realized he was wrong.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. He was never a bad guy. He had the John Hammond thing. John Hammond realized he was wrong in the first one, but it still didn't stop him from doing the second one. But you do have, I'd say Vince is to me just the guy that's like really in it. The one that's like, you don't give a shit. I'll tell you what we're going to use these for. We're going to use them for military weaponry. Like he's just a bad dude. He's the one when he gets eaten by the raptors at the end, you're really excited about it. You're like, yeah, get it.
You dumbass.
Yeah. So I don't mind him because Vincent D'Onofrio is excellent in everything he's in, so he can do no wrong in my eyes, actually. But it's like we're bringing that into it. You're complicating it more. You also have this idea of this training them and developing the relationships. So right here, already, while it's cool and there are moments that are, like, fun and cool, I just don't buy it.
You don't buy that he would be able to train raptors?
Anybody would. I just don't. I think that now look, it makes it seem like he's got them very loosely, like, they still could turn on him in any moment. They
Oh,
still
yeah.
make it
Oh, yeah,
seem
and
that
he
way.
knows that, he knows that.
Right. I'm just not sure that they would abide by his games ever, though. You know what I mean? Like,
Well, I mean, I know what you're saying, but I think what they were going for was that, hey, listen, these things are still animals, and if you can train a lion, if you can train a tiger, why is it so hard to believe that these people would not actually be able to tame a raptor?
okay, and look,
So
that's I know, and I know that that's where they're coming from. My approach is that it's like these guys are from a different era. These guys are from a time where man didn't exist. You know what I mean? Like this is just like playing man's game ain't their thing, dude. They're eating. They're trying to conquer. I just don't. Again, the whole logic thing within this world, they exist. I still need them to be just ferocious, like no bullshit. I just, again, while this led to some cool moments, and the motorcycle and all that, which oh gosh, I don't know. I like it, but part of me just like, really?
I mean that dude, people wanted you show that scene in that trailer, and people are like, holy shit. I want to watch this guy riding along with the raptors on his motorcycle. That
So
was
look,
absolutely what got people wanting to go see that.
is it edited and put together well to where it's a cinematic joyride? Of course, it is. I even myself when I'm watching it, I'm like, all right, you go get them, Pratt and Raptors. Let's Raptors. Um, but I just again, it just starts to become a little too superhero-y. It's like, all right, is he Ant-Man now and he can control the ants, but no, he's dinosaur, he can control the raptors. You know what I'm saying? It's just like
Now, see, there it is. You think it's about control? It's about trust.
it is about the trust. You're right. But
That's what he says. He says
I
it.
know, I know, you're right. I guess it went from being this to being this.
I see what you mean. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it seemed like something that was like, wow, what we were hating was like the stupid little kids in the other one. This one, it's sort of like they're just creating these scenarios now that are it's like, all right, like what are we gonna see like at the very end of this one that he takes Blue home with him? He's it's just like I don't but that doesn't ruin the movie for me. It just
Yeah.
kinda it separates the Jurassic World franchise from the first
Yeah,
franchise. There's a
right.
clear
Listen, what I loved about Jurassic World was even the tagline, "The park is now open."
yeah.
That dude, that's okay. Think if you go back to Jurassic Park and the failure of the park and the disaster that happened, and Hammond like, oh, yeah, this was a mistake. I'm not, I've been decided not to endorse your park. So have I. You know, but and then years down the road, they figured things out, and the park is now open. That is the sequel that everybody wanted to see.
Oh,
Was
I
not
agree.
Lost World, not Jurassic Park 3. They wanted to see the park
Park
is
open.
now open.
And
And
look,
then another disaster happens
I agree.
because you can't tame these dinosaurs.
No, I agree. You definitely I mean, the whole point of Jurassic Park is that you think you've got it under control and you think you can do it, but you're wrong. It's gonna get out of your control and it's gonna get out of hand. So I liked the park. I liked that there's hundreds of people there to get killed. Uh, dude, when they take the babysitter up in the air and start tossing her around, and then the Mosasaurus comes out and grabs, and dude, awesome stuff right there. And Pratt's great. I loved him. I think Bryce Dallas Howard's great. I honestly got a little crush on her, always have. But
Yeah, man. There were some movies when she was doing when she was younger, and I didn't pay attention to her. But and in this one, and even as Gwen Stacy in that Spider-Man 3 rendition, like, wow, she's really beautiful.
oh
And,
yeah, no, she's
and on top of that, she's running in heels with a flare. Like, bro,
yeah,
that
she
is woman power right there.
yeah, and she talks about it too, how that was part of her like training. She's like, I wanted to get good at that so I could do it on screen. And then of
Yeah,
course there's a moment where she gets them off and takes the shoes off. But uh, I definitely enjoy that whole cast. I think, Judy Greer is great in everything she's in, even though she's kind of a side character. The nerdy tech guy that's Bryce Dallas Howard's sort of like nerd right hand man
yeah,
guy.
mhm,
He's in the second one as well. Like he's all those guys are great in it. I love the fact that they go back to the original park and all that stuff. Like
yeah.
all that's cool.
And then she's
Uh,
offended because he's wearing a Jurassic Park shirt.
right. Yeah. It's vintage. It's just like oh, people died there. But it's just that it took it to this MCU feel and not a like Jurassic Park feel. I don't know. It's kind of the difference between Predator 1, Predator 2, and Alien versus Predator. You know what I mean? There's a difference between there's a marketing, there's a brand on Jurassic World where even though by the time there was Jurassic 3, it was branded, but it still felt like this old school Jurassic Park vibe, whereas this new one, it's like revamped, rebooted on steroids. We've got more going. We've got more into not just the story, but we've got the park. But look at the graphics. We've got motorcycles and raptors, and it's just you know what I mean. It's starting to get a little rock and roll, and it's taking it away from that monster movie. It's like the difference between Jaws and Jaws 3. You know what I mean? Like there's a clear difference. While this is better quality than Jaws 3, it is just I just really wish there'd be a way they could make a franchise and keep a consistency of making it just like, damn, dude, they made I mean, you know what I mean? Like
You can't.
obvious
You got too much studio meddling, and
yes,
the more money that
I
gets thrown
agree.
at them, the more money that they start throwing at them for marketing and for I mean, I guarantee,
I'm s
and I know that's like 30 years apart, give or take, but like the budget for Jurassic Park and the budget for Jurassic World is exponentially different.
oh, for sure, for sure. I mean, it was exponentially different from 2 to 1 and from 3 to 2. I mean, that's just the way it worked for 'em. I
And just like so, this kind of it's kind of like I don't know the phrase or what I'm looking for, but I'll just explain it. So Bryce Dallas Howard's character, when he says you guys just went and like created a dinosaur, that's probably not a good idea, because
the
it,
Indominus Rex.
yeah, she explains that people wanted bigger, they wanted more, so we created a species of our own using DNA from different dinosaurs. That's exactly what studios want in these movies. You got to you got to beat what you got to beat in part 2. You got to beat having a T-Rex. Okay, we'll have two. And part 3, you got to beat having two T-Rex. Okay, we'll have pterodactyls and spinosaurus beating the T-Rex.
Sure, yeah, yep.
So it's all that what she's explaining about how our investors wanted more. It's just she's talking about studios.
Yeah, it's a little almost fourth wall breaking.
Yeah,
No, you're right. Uh, and I guess what the way they're upping the game in this one is that it's a free for all. They're
yeah.
everywhere,
And
so
I'll be
there's
curious to
nothing
know.
that can't happen.
I'll be curious to know what you see if you see the trailer for Dominion, and I mentioned this earlier. You've got dinosaurs in this that are being shown in this trailer that you've never seen before.
Oh yeah.
Where are these coming from? Are they is it life has found a way and now they're evolving on their own, or are these dinosaurs that we've never been introduced to? But they were all made in a lab still, and we just never saw them until now. I don't know.
Well, the way that it looks is the way I'm looking at it is that time has passed since the last one, so they'll at least do 5 years,
It
maybe even
does
longer.
it does say I don't know if it's 5 years, but it does say in the premise of Dominion that it's a couple months or a couple of years have passed, and people have just been accepting that these dinosaurs live among us.
Yeah, and
Which is insane, which is insane to me, but I guess we'll see how it pans out.
well, again, at the end of Fallen Kingdom, it looked like they only released like 12 or 13 or 15 or 16 of them. It didn't
Yeah.
look like but again, I'm sure they'll explain that in the movie of how things happened or whatever. But overall, when I saw Jurassic World, I loved it. I had a blast with it. And I don't hate any of these movies.
No, no, no. And, remember how when I went on my rant when with watching Top Gun Maverick because I like to relate. I like to see things from watching a movie and relate it to to something that I am passionate about or something like I see this. This is how I see things in the real world. With Top Gun Maverick, them trying to people up here trying to dictate how things work down here, and you have no idea how things work. Well, to me, when I watched Jurassic World and when I watched Fallen Kingdom, I was like, this is humans and their corporate greed and I have no doubt in my mind that if dinosaurs could really be created, there would be a group of elite people who try to bring them who try to do this to as a way to just make more money, not caring at all that
Yeah,
these are going not caring at all that these are going to wipe out humanity.
that's the way it is with everything. People make makeup and skin products not caring at all that that's messing up people's skins I mean, you know what I mean? Like processed foods, packaged fructose corn syrup, you know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
people don't care. That's just the way it is with everything. If it's marketable, they're going to sell it.
Yeah, and
Um,
I guarantee you, in Dominion, there's going to be these characters who are dinosaur activists who don't who they deserve to be here. Like
no, for
you,
sure.
I'm like, okay,
No, well,
as that T-Rex or that raptor is eating you, go ahead and keep talking about how they belong here with us.
yeah, they're definitely probably going to have that in there. They're going to have plenty of that in there, but it's also going to be them trying to figure out the problems because I think it's going to be a lot of people getting eaten. I mean, I, I bet you they'll have some of that in there, but I mean, it shows them hunting dinosaurs. It shows people getting eaten at the beach. It shows all kind of stuff. People in the air, airplanes getting attacked. I mean, so again, just like with certain things, people that won't believe something even when it's right in front of them, you got a bunch of flat earthers out there. It'll be the same way with this. You'll have some people denying it the whole time. Um, but there will be a human villain, I'm sure, and there will be somebody trying to market again off of dinosaurs, just like they did in the first one, and just like they did in Fallen Kingdom. Which, again, if you look at Fallen Kingdom, same thing as this first one, dude. They're just going with this art style that's like,
So the
so it just has something, this sheen to it that
yeah,
it looks like a war going on.
from the get go in Fallen Kingdom, going to recruit Owen and anybody else to go save the dinosaurs from the island that's about to be destroyed by lava or whatever. I mean, you're wanting to save a species of dinosaurs that will eradicate the entire human race if you're not careful. And Goldblum says this in his little speech he does in that courtroom, or wherever it was. He was saying,
Yeah, it was like a deposition.
yeah. So again, you kind of touched on this earlier. Was that they want you? They've made it to where you feel sorry for these dinosaurs. You care for these dinosaurs, and in one level, it's fine. Like a brontosaurus, for example, it's gigantic and it's bigger than like 10 elephants.
Well,
But it,
the idea,
but
the
it ain't,
idea,
but it ain't gonna eat people. But
the idea
still,
is that we've created it and it's our responsibility now.
yeah.
So
But
that's the idea. It's kind of like a child. You create the child, even if it was an accident. It's your responsibility.
but a
And
child, but a child is not gonna go around and destroy the human race.
oh, I know. What I'm saying is that's just the. I think people's I think people's compassion to some of them when once they see it, because remember in the second one, that's what they're doing. By the end of it, that's the whole thing. They're faced with the feeling of, I don't want to kill them. They're dying. Look at them. They're dying right in front of us.
Yeah, that watching that when they are getting away on that boat and they're
Oh, watching the brontosaurus is
watching the
painful
brontosaurus.
every time, dude.
Yeah, yeah, but
Kills me.
it is sad, but at the same time, it's kind of like I don't know. I guess I wish there was a character who was kind of like, you guys have got to stop feeling sorry for these things because this is what's going to happen.
Well,
And then it'd be interesting to know if that person's considered the villain, even though they're the ones who are thinking rationally.
I'm sure that's what Sam Neill and Jeff Goldblum, their character is going to be this entire time. They're going to be like,
Maybe.
you guys are idiots. They'll probably be showcased and looked at as like some people that like for the past 20 years they've been silenced because we wanted to make money off of Jurassic World, and so we paid them off. You know what I mean, or something. Or maybe it'll be like we've been wrapped up in lawsuits, but legally we've been had to keep our mouths shut because one of the things they talk about, and I think it's part two at the very beginning of part two, they talk about how Jeff Goldblum signed and everybody else signed an NDA before they went to the original island in part one. And Jeff Goldblum says real quick, it's right when Jeff Goldblum goes to see John Hammond and his son is there, that the bad guy villain of the second movie. And Jeff Goldblum just ran into the grandkids and, oh, kids, how you doing? And then he's telling him that he's an idiot for doing all this stuff, for sending people back overseas. And why is John wanting to do this? And then basically he's like, you signed an NDA before you left going over there. Jeff Goldblum is saying, yeah, but you lied to us about what was going over there. People died. And so like they mentioned that. So I'm wondering if that NDA is going to be coming into play in this third one, of maybe why they are just haven't been in Jurassic World or Fallen Kingdom, why they weren't regarded, why they weren't talked to. Jeff Goldblum was, but it was all in the deposition. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
So anyways, I'm just curious how that's going to come into play because I don't see their characters. We know Jeff Goldblum's anti-dinosaurs, but I don't see Sam Neill and Ellie being like flip-flopped. I see them being like, yeah, we knew this was a mistake from back in the day,
Mm-hmm. Well, what
But
is it you didn't like about the little girl and Lost Kingdom or
I just
Fallen Kingdom?
I just don't like the storyline in general. It's like it gets to a point to where they're saying like the whole point behind this dinosaur thing really was so they could clone, because this girl is a clone of his daughter, of the older man's daughter.
Yeah. So
And
it's the cloning aspect is a little like,
yeah. Oh no, I don't mind the little girl being in there. Have a girl in there. That's fine. I'm talking about
are they gonna carry on with this cloning aspect of it and make it even worse? Make that something bigger. You think?
Yeah, and I just don't understand. Like that took up a lot of the plot line in Fallen Kingdom until we got to the good part of Fallen Kingdom. So also the other bad guy in Fallen Kingdom. Well, there's a few bad guys, but one of the main bad guys is this dude.
Oh yeah,
and he's a jerk, and he's the one that's like ready to kill the little girl and all that stuff. But the first half of it, when they go to the volcano, the island back there, it's within like 10 minutes, man. I mean, it's like, oh, let's start the movie. Oh, this is what's going on. Boom. Oh, they're back over there. And then you get a cool sequence with remember the little sphere balls that they rolled around in Jurassic World? Those.
Oh, yeah.
Had a cool scene with that in Jurassic World. You have another cool scene with that in this movie where it's underwater and everything. And like, I don't know if you remember that, but he's trying to save her from out underneath the sphere. It's her and the black kid with the glasses.
Yeah.
That whole scene's great as far as the intensity of it, but like all that happens and they get into that situation within the first 15 or 20 minutes of the movie. And the movie starts out with them not being on the island. It just was way too fast of a transitional thing. It just felt like, dude, we're already here. Like this is just way too quick. But I felt like what they were trying to do is speed it up and get through all these things so they could get to the mansion. Because to me, that's where the movie gets good. That's to me where this feels like an original, its own Jurassic Park movie.
With the auction.
Yeah, and again, they had the bad guy villain. The auction thing, it's fine, but I love the dinosaur look in this one. It's very scary. But I just like the whole horror movie aspect with this dinosaur creeping around this gothic house. It's in the rain and there's all these outdoor shots, the moonlight.
Oh yeah, that moment where it reaches and barely touches her hair. Yeah.
And then it's opening the doors with its handle, and it just all that stuff is really, to me, I loved. And it's directed by J.A. Benea, who's a horror movie director. And so the fact that they got him to do this, I just thought was cool. All that worked for me. I just wished that most of the movie would have been like that. That first half of the movie that almost, I don't know, could have been more of like its own movie, like a point of them trying to get to the island and then finally having some trouble on the island with certain things. And then, oh no, now the volcano's erupting. We got to get out, so that could have been its own movie, but they shoehorned that into the first half of the movie. And then the second half is a horror movie in a gothic home. It was just the whole formula of that film to me was off. It didn't mesh together well in my opinion. What about you?
Uh, I don't know. I mean, I can definitely see what you're saying. I don't know. Like, okay, so like it was necessary to show the island stuff, to show how they're getting everything off the island, and the stuff that happens in the mansion with the auction, like kind of leading up to that auction. I don't know how much longer that really needed to be. Um,
I
I don't really
personally
know.
and also too like the two characters, the two nerdy characters, the black guy with the glasses and the other girl that was like helping them save the
Well, yeah,
baby.
suddenly it's a real. She mentions this in the early part of the movie. That's she's like a paleontologist veterinarian. Like, yeah, that's a real thing. Like, since when?
Well, since Jurassic World exists.
I guess since dinosaurs became living creatures again, now
Well,
they need to have somebody who can be a doctor for them. I
well,
guess.
well,
Okay.
well, if they have a park full of them, yeah, because they had a park, so it's like a zoo. They got to maintenance the creatures.
Yeah. Okay.
So how
Yeah.
would they open the park unless they got the right type of staff and everything? So that
Yeah.
didn't bother me. I just didn't like those characters. I thought that their lines were stupid. They were silly. They were annoying the whole time. It's like, oh, here we go. You put them in here because you're trying to make a certain demographic laugh. And I just don't like that. It feels so ugh.
Well, it's contrite.
Yeah, this all of it. And same thing with the guy that was funny in the first one who was in the tech room. He was not funny in this one. It just seemed like, oh, he was people liked him in the first one. Let's put him in the second one. And it's just like if he doesn't belong in the story, don't put him in the story. And that's just me. I just didn't think that. But
I mean, like that the black kid on the chopper when they're flying to the and then Chris Pratt's character Owen's already on the plane, and they mentioned something about he's got all of it. He's got his guns and this, and the black kid's like, you and I have nothing in common.
yeah, that's the guy I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Like it's just annoying. But um, so I thought it was kind of cool. This was the guy running the auction.
Oh
So
yeah, Toby. What's his name? The actor. His name's Toby something.
yeah, he's in the Captain America movies, and he's in Civil War. He's in Winter Soldier, and not Winter Soldier, in Civil War.
Yeah, he's the voice of in Winter Soldier. He's the voice of that computer, isn't he?
Well, in Civil War
Yeah,
when they find it in that bunker in Civil War.
yeah,
But yeah, he's that. But he's also Red Skull's right hand man in the first one. But
yes,
he's just the same character who's the voice in that computer.
yeah,
Um, but like I liked him as this because it's like I hate to say it this way, it's the most normal character he's ever played, and it was kind of cool seeing him in that character.
yeah. Okay,
And I thought that he played kind of a piece of shit pretty well. And again, I didn't mind him so much because his villainous nature was like just a scumbag who wanted to make some money in any way that didn't really care about stuff. And there's a lot of people out there like that. It's
yeah,
these villains in the movie that I don't like. It's the whole like
yeah. Well, they all get what they deserve.
they do, and that's why they're in there, I guess, to a certain extent. But there's something about, like I said, that first movie, that's the fact that it was just man versus nature, and it was sort of like, but we created this, and now look what it's done to us. And I just like that whole thing. And in this one, it's just like I don't know,
Well,
like
like
we talked about it. It's a franchise and it's a machine now, and they're trying to market the hell out of it.
I always harken back to Goldblum's speech in Jurassic Park 1, and I'm gonna butcher it, but he says something along the lines of you guys got so caught up in wondering if you could do this, you stopped it, you failed to ask yourself if you should.
Good if you should, yeah. No, he has some amazing lines in the first movie, like just the life finds a way. And what I like about him is that he is definitely, I think, the most out of the. I'm curious to see in this new movie of how logically thinking he's going to be, because I think out of all three of them, Alan Grant, Ellie, and Ian Malcolm, while Alan Grant might be the most knowledgeable on dinosaurs because he's actually like an archaeologist, paleontologist guy, Jeff Goldblum, I think, is like just more of the smartest person in the group.
Oh
His Ian
yeah,
Malcolm. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I'm curious to see what their dynamics like in this new film again together. If they're going to bring those different traits of all of them, and if you're going to have Ellie being more of maybe like the rational one,
Yeah. Well, if you remember back at the Jurassic Park 1 when they're having that little kind of dinner meeting, Hammond says, "The only one I've got on my side is the
it's the bloody lawyer.
the bloody lawyer." And
Yeah.
so even these dinosaur experts who loved seeing what they just saw, even they are kind of like, these things are going to be introduced to a world that they've never been to before, and they'll defend themselves violently if they have to.
If they have to, yeah. Um, and even at the beginning of part two or part three, Alan Grant's like doing some college talking and speaking at some places, and he's like, "Anyone have some questions?" And it's like everybody
Yeah.
raises. He's like, "Anyone have any questions not about Jurassic Park?" And like
Yeah.
10 hands go down. He's like, "Anyone have any questions not about the second site, Isla Sorna, which is in part two?" And then all the hands go down. And then he is like, "Look, dinosaurs existed 65 million years ago for a reason. They died off for a reason. It's like they had their chance." Like, and it's just I like it when those guys talk like that because they're the right ones. And of
Yeah.
course, they have these douchebags like this guy and this guy.
Yep.
And then of course, this guy, he's the
Yep.
one that I hate the most. I don't know why. And I like Vincent no matter what, so he can be in there. So overall, rank them.
Jurassic Park, the first one. Okay. Um, and then I might have to say Jurassic World, only because I really just felt that that was the sequel that we all wanted. The park is now open, you know, and
Sure.
I just loved how that kind of like, if you could take Lost World and Jurassic Park 3 away and put Jurassic Park and Jurassic World, and it would be like that. Yeah, that's great. I don't need to know anything else. Um, so I would put Jurassic World, the first one, as my second one, and then I go 3, and then I go Lost World, and then I go Fallen Kingdom.
Kingdom. Mine's almost that. Mine's 1, 3. World and Lost World right now are literally just very neck and neck because I liked Lost World a lot more this time around than I remembered liking it. It could be for nostalgic reasons, but there's just some scenes and some setting moments that are like, oh, this is actually pretty badass. But there are a lot of moments that are cheesy too. Um, so if gun to my head, I'd probably say Lost World is better, or that Jurassic World is better than Lost World as a whole film. Um, but then Fallen Kingdom's definitely last. No question. And I do like, man, like I said, for me, that horror movie scene works on it. But I'm really hoping that this one makes the trilogy of Lost World better. Because if somebody made me choose, hey, you have to choose the Jurassic Park trilogy or Lost or Fallen, excuse me, Jurassic World and Fallen Kingdom, I'd be like, get Jurassic World and Fallen Kingdom out of here. I want the original trilogy. If I had to choose, like I can only watch one or the other. But if this third one can do something epic and make these first two movies mean more, you know what I mean? Because that's
Mhm.
possible. You can have a third one come out and be like, okay, all right, this was a badass movie, and then it just makes it that much more. Or you can
But
have it ruin it.
but yeah, before we wrap it up, what do you think would be the proper ending for Dominion?
Man, I mean, that's a tough call. I never really thought that they'd release him to the wild, to be honest. I mean, I thought that was just like, where do we go from this now? Like, so the proper ending for it, that's I really don't even know what to say. I mean, part of me is it's like they should just be like, this is how it is now. This is how we live. I mean, they can't kill them all off. They can't capture them all, can they?
No, I mean, I think that the only way to end, I think the way, if they are truly wanting this to cap the Jurassic franchise off, where it's these 6 films, I think they have to either kill them all. You find a way to just destroy these dinosaurs, kill them, because they're going to exterminate. the human race, or you find, or they make it to where they find a way to get them in some like cargo ship and set sail and get them out into like these islands that are not occupied, like where they were, and leave it at that. But even if they do that, the studios, the greedy studios, just like these greedy people in these movies, are going to continue on with this franchise.
Oh, yeah.
So if they truly want to cap this franchise off at sixth movie, the World Dominion, you've got to kill these dinosaurs off. You've got to get rid of them. You got, even the ones that are not going to hurt you, you got to get rid of them.
Yeah, I mean that's you're probably right. But I see
Now
them.
they did. I did forget. There is that moment in Fallen Kingdom when she is about to push that button to let them all out as they get as like poison gas or something like that is coming through or something like that, and he tells her. Owen says, "If you push that button, everything's going to change. You're going to let those things out in the world."
Yeah.
And she chooses to not push that button, but other ones have already gotten out.
No, she pushes the button.
No, she doesn't.
No, the button is.
She has a moment of rationality, and she's like, "You're right. I have to let them die." But
No, but the little girl presses the button.
She does?
Yeah, that's who lets them out. Like Bryce Dallas Howard is just like, you know what, you're right. And then all of a sudden they see him walking out there and you show the little girl and she's got her hand on the button.
Oh shit, you're right. I forgot about that.
Yeah, so the little girl let him out.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
yeah.
I'm not sure what they're going to do. I mean, they played up the cards so much with them about like, let's love dinosaurs in this one. It's like, but they're living creatures and all that. So I think that they're going to do something to compromise for everyone because they don't want people being pissed leaving this movie. But hey, I hope they take some risk with it. Honestly, I'd love it if they get something ballsy.
Yeah, I mean, it's like a vegetarian getting upset that you're eating an animal, but a lion is not going to hesitate to eat you.
Yeah. Oh, and usually that vegetarian's wearing something leather. Most of the time. But all right, man, man, we went an hour and a half, so we should wrap this up, right?
Yeah, I gotta get going.
Yeah, gotta get to them kiddos because we got another long night tomorrow night.
That's right.
We won't be posting it quite right away tomorrow night, or maybe we will. Actually, you know what? We're gonna do. We're just gonna post it tomorrow night. Do it live. Right?
Whatever you think. I don't know. Whatever you think.
Yeah, I think we'll just do it live tomorrow night. Get it done easy that way. That way I don't have to focus on it anymore because got to keep moving. So, we just lost our one viewer. All right. So, hey, guys, much love. Andrew, as always, thank you, man. And I'll see you tomorrow. I'll send you text and we'll talk about it. But yeah, we're doing Dominion tomorrow. So we're going to do the same thing tomorrow night, probably around 7:30-ish, 8:30. Oh, no, we're going to see it
at 5.
At 5. That's right. Yeah. So probably like 8:30-ish or so, we might do the stream.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, hey, peace out, brother. Have a good night.
All right. Peace out.
All right, guys. Thank y'all so much for joining us. Appreciate it. Hit that like button if you enjoyed it. And as always, if you haven't done so already, hit that subscribe button so you can help us make it to the top. And if life gives you lemons, make some hot, fresh popcorns.